So to continue what I was talking about Germans, like they have such a bad rap. They're not allowed to have like they're demonized for their history, even though we know that globalists played both sides of the war against each other to profit. So and we know we've seen it the past 3 years that the best of Americans buy into propaganda, are willing to kill whoever they don't like if the person isn't suffocating themselves, getting poked, getting their grip form plate broken. Like progressive liberals totally want to kill whoever doesn't do that, whoever doesn't support the LBGT, the anti biological female agenda, the anti heterosexual agenda, the anti lesbian separatist biological female agenda, because that's what the LBGT pedo group, it doesn't care about women, feminine, real biological women's, you know, it's like this LBGT thing that's going on as of 2023 is the most misogynistic, uh, chauvinistic movement, and it's in and the thing is, gay men that I have met a lot really do hate women with an incredible passion. And I think I just always attributed something bad happened with their mom, or something, their fathers did something and the mom didn't help or something like that. So I just figured it was some sort of horrible trauma that these gay men or these transvestites that I met who were gay, that had just this deep, like demonic, like satanic hatred of women. And I was just like, okay, I'm hanging out with my other friends who didn't hate women with a passion. Um, so anyways, here we are. We have biological men who are claiming to be women and claiming that biological women don't know anything what it is to be a woman or mother, or it's just incredible. And it's incredible that biological women who claim to be feminists are supporting this misogynistic, chauvinistic agenda. And that my point is that Germans who were Nazis, who were into genocide, we are experiencing genocide right now. There's a genocide of the biological women in America. There's a genocide of women, sisters, mothers, daughters. We have no safe women's bathrooms or girls' bathrooms now. And if a rape happens, it's hushed up because the trans agenda is the cult, is the religion of our country. And I have friends who are these extreme progressive liberal that think themselves middle of the road, and they think, oh well, the girl really wanted to get raped in the girls' bathroom because she already had sex with the trans boy who was wearing a skirt. So it's that same misogynistic, patriarchal, sexist, chauvinistic mentality, and liberals are proving themselves to be just as bad as the conservatives who were in charge 50, 100 years ago. That created this um, wandering away from tradition, because humans are messed up. Conservative humans are messed up, and liberals are messed up. And conservatives do not take care of their children, their grandchildren, their relatives, their students, because they were abused by the trusted agents of the public good, whether it's the mother, the father, the priest, the pastor, the teacher. And everybody just is too it's too hard to stop somebody from raping children, from molesting children. And who's molesting and raping? It's somebody who has power and money, and people want that money. People don't want to deal with the flack of pointing out that their leader is a rapist, incester, pedophile. And now they're legalizing pedophilia, and children are going to be brainwashed. Oh, this is what you want, even though that's not what a child wants. That's what happens with traumatized children. It's like they don't know what's going on, and then they're like 40 years old, and like, why am I so messed up? You mean I didn't have to be raped by my father or the pastor or my mother or the preacher or the teacher? the sports coach. I mean, these are cliches of the past, and these are cliches that are happening right now. And the insane activists are like, the children are going to love it, and it's so psychotic. But anyways, I remember in reading some history thing that in the 20s it was the trans agenda was popular. Men were dressing up as women, and I think probably women were dressing up as men, and that kind of thing has been going on. um, and and that the Nazis were burning these books, and one of these sex, they're called like a doctor or whatever, but it was Kinsey, who was a pedophile and a wife swapper, and I mean he was, and I didn't know this. Like I did a paper on him in college in the 80s, and there were, he was just presented as some like social scientist. I didn't know anything about pedophilia and his involvement, and you know, and I wonder if like Freud, because Freud was talking about kids as this like sexual, like highly sexualized, whatever. Um, so, anyways, so the Germans were not into this. Like some Germans did not want transgender, did not want pedophilia, and it appears, and I think that, so what happens is I think the globalists create the problem, so they have the trans thing or whatever, and then so there's a backlash. Nobody wants to be controlled and be forced to be trans, or have the children be forced to be trans. So there's a backlash, and then the globalists have their tool, their pawn to be to react against the original problem. So I think that the Germans were manipulated, thinking, oh yeah, being trans is cool, and then the people who didn't like it, well, yeah, we gotta violently put this down and burn the books, because apparently that's what the Germans were burning books about this whole like the books that are going on right now that are explicit, trying to indoctrinate children to have sex with adults. So those were the books the Nazis were burning. So now, the trans are like, you're a Nazi if you don't want child porn in the library. If you don't want children to read child porn, you're a Nazi. And so I'm wondering if, like, France, which is where the Illuminati came from, has a grudge against Germany, and if this is some sort of like German targeting. So German is shamed for their military um, behavior, and unlike, I watch these funny, comedy skits about Germans, and they're like they have 14 different recycling containers, and they have all this kind of weird fastidious stuff about global, like global footprint, don't like uh you know like don't throw things in the trash or whatever. And I'm like, I think the fine minds of Germans are like, yeah, your worth is in how little of an impact you can make on this planet by spending all your time doing recycling and doing forms and managing your bureaucratic forms and whatnot. Imagine what kind of benefit Germans would offer to the world right now in 2023 if they weren't spending all the time recycling and managing paperwork, like if they were um, implementing their creativity and whatever. I'm not saying they're like a better people or whatever, but I think that they have been demonized and they've internalized it. And I see this happened in America because all my life, I'd go to elementary school and they'd show me this sad this commercial in the 70s of an Indian crying because of trash on the ground. And, the implication was you put the trash there, you're making the Indian cry. And, it's like the problem as in my book is the globalists are poisoning the food, water, air, psyche of all of humanity. And, um, if we weren't poisoned and we weren't driven crazy by this demonization of everything, I think uh, everything would be so much more beautiful and peaceful and harmonious. I got to have as much money as possible. Let's gut this charming little town or gut the charming little city and create all these disgusting clinical architecturally inspiring high rises that nobody will ever use, or everybody's going to just always spend their time. They'll just sleep there during the week and spend the weekends in a beautiful, glorious pre-industrial place that's walkable and charming, and there's never any parking. Um, and it's just like, if only people weren't so greedy and weren't so committed to conspicuous consumption, because that's what's going on here. Like 100 years ago, people wouldn't be trying to show off. At least not so many people wouldn't try to show off how rich they were. But like I see even ordinary people with like over the top hairstyles or fancy rich people dogs or so I just wanted to me probably, the same thing is happening here. Americans were duped into, yeah, we got to be so open minded, our brains fall out. So, yeah, everybody should be trans, everybody should be gay, and, let's destroy the family. And then another group is like, you know, uh, I mean, the interesting thing is nothing like that has happened. Like all the censorship has come from the left, like you know, kicking people off of Twitter. I've been kicked off of Facebook multiple times, off of YouTube, off of Twitter. Actually, not Twitter, off of LinkedIn, off of other platforms, Vimeo, for just like doing these talking out loud, boring things like this. But for some reason, daring to say any of this, it's like, even though nobody even watches the video. So, but it's the left. Because if I'm talking about, um, if I was saying, pro pedo stuff from the LBGT um, activist thing, I'd probably, the algorithm would probably shoot, like have more people watching and liking and stuff like that. So it's interesting because the censorship is is from the left, and we know this. We know so many alternative uh, voices are not even on YouTube or have to really struggle to walk on eggshells to avoid Big Brother censorship by the left. So it's very interesting that the left has taken over the fundamental infrastructure of media. Um, so that's what's kind of different than what little I know about World War I and II, because I think the conservatives still had control of the media. So, and it is very interesting that, like, what I wonder too is like there are so many people who are anti-authoritarian, all these people doing criminal acts like trespass or shoplifting or whatever, but they're like folks, I see like they look like they have jailhouse tattoos and stuff, and they're wearing masks. And I'm like, so you were so much of a rebel, you were willing to go to prison because you killed somebody, but you're wearing a mask in October 2023 when you're all by yourself on the sidewalk? Like, why are these folks who don't conform, who are anti-authoritarian to the point of their own self-destruction, but they're wearing masks, like it's so it doesn't make sense to me, because I would think, okay, if you're criminally minded and you don't believe in civilization and the rules of law and stuff like that. Why are you wearing a mask in October 2023 when you know that you're not going to get sick and die from, you know? And the thing is, if you're going to prison, if you've got so many tattoos and stuff, like, it indicates that you've had a lot of time in your hands and not the greatest artist working on you. Like, since when do you have a self-preservation that you're wearing a mask when you didn't have any common sense when you were in prison and hopefully sober enough that you got all these tattoos on your face and neck? Like, I just don't understand. Like, human behavior is just not making sense from what I have learned the past 50 plus years. So anyways, I think that France, or the Illuminati in France, resented Germany for defeating them, and that Germany was demonized because of that, and because I think there's something about the German culture that is powerful and um, a threat to the globalists. There's something about it um, that's different about that. Because I think Russians are very astute, very keen thinkers, very innovative. Like, they're willing to think outside the box, and they've got great answers. And I think Asia has great thinkers too. Um, and and of course France is great for literature and whatever. But I think Germany, out of like Europe, like, there's something special about it. I think there's something special about the German people, and I wonder if it's that they are no BS. They're no BS, and they are very capable, and um, maybe they're easily manipulated to either be trans or be fascist, like, um, if that part of history is to be believed. But I am thinking that there's something special about that group, at least from looking at history. Uh, and yeah, like, and I think Americans, being that there is a lot of a German, there's just a lot of German immigrants that came here. I think that's important. And it's funny, I'm not even talking about England. But I mean, England did have German royalty. I mean, so, like, although of course England is definitely its own country and whatever. And yeah, they were also capable, but somehow, like, why did Germany of all countries get such stigmatization? And I would say, like, America is like, if we look at through all history, America's like second, or all modern history, like, history is like second to how naughty the Germans were in the politically correct liberal lens. So I think that there must be something about the German people that is especially threatening to the Illuminati, and I would say the same thing for Americans. And I don't know if it's a willingness to, maybe it's this potential for being capable, organized, and um, set boundaries. You know what I mean? Like, not let uh, certain things happen. But I mean, I don't, and it did, and who knows if World War I, World War II, if they were great resets to erase um, a culture we've never known about or heard about, like the Tartaria. Like, was it a great reset? Was it some directed energy weapon that um, blasted Dresden and decimated Hiroshima and Nagasaki? Like, was it not even the Allied allies and the Axis powers? Was it some globalist agenda? Like now, like when 9/11 happened, no, the our American military didn't know that there were planes from another country in the air. Like, or, we didn't, like, we were told, you know, nobody knew anything. And, you know, and Pearl Harbor also, the military knew that Pearl Harbor was going to be bombed, and they removed their assets that they wanted to remove. So they do a human sacrifice because people died during Pearl Harbor, and that got America into the war. People died during 9/11, which got people um, into this surrendering their freedom. So this is all somewhere mass manipulation by globalists. It's not a war between the Middle East and America, or Japan and the United States. It's this globalist manipulation of people from a country. So I'm just trying to see, okay, why is America considered? I mean, because we are under attack. I mean, I know Europe is under attack too, but in America, there's a lot more chemicals. Like, we're under chemical biological warfare with all, and it's been going on for decades. So, you know, and I think 5G is much more. It's we're more exposed to that, as opposed to including bad electrical wiring in our buildings. I mean, there's just so much negligence about the infrastructure of America, that I think is a deliberate attack on our biology. So, and I doubt Germans are that horrible to their own people as Americans are, but maybe, I don't know, maybe they are, but I have a feeling they're not as bad. I think because, like, America is a melting pot, and there's just such greed here that people are like, oh, it's too bad that my job is trafficking people or killing people, but I need my paycheck because I got this. I got these payments. I got this new car to buy. I've got this fancy lifestyle to live. So my friends and family like me. It's just like people are sacrificing their souls and the lives of others to please people they don't care about, and who don't care about them either. It's very strange, but this is the brainwashing that we are in America today. So, anyways, Germans, what do you got? What do you got that's so threatening to the Illuminati? And Americans, what do we have that's so menacing to the Illuminati that they have us on a slow kill, um, you know, treadmill, so bad, like more, I think, than other countries. I know other countries have like terrible disasters, or are, vaccinated to death and stuff like that. But I do think there's something different here. Like, every possible warfare weapon that can be used on Americans is used on Americans. I think it's in the thousands, hundreds of thousands of assaults that Americans have to endure. And my question is why? You know, like, it's not just humans that the globalists are trying to get rid of. It's Americans. And they put Germans in their place. Germans are just like, yeah, I'll just sort my recycling. I'll just fill up my forms, keep my forms organized, you know. But Americans are like, we're I don't know, we we're on this, like, assisted suicide, road to self destruction. So, yeah, why though? Why? So if you understand what I'm talking about and have any thoughts, let me know. Thank you. God bless.